Hello, book lovers. I'm Peg, the Book Prize Addict, here today with a lot of new, interesting book prize news. I know you'll just be anxious to hear. Let's get going. Okay, the first thing, last night I heard there's a wonderful new thing in England called the Big Jubilee Read. I'm giving the link below, but I think the BBC is sponsoring a wonderful list of books, 70 books for each of Queen Elizabeth's year not in office, reigning. There's 70 books for each year, starting with, I guess, 53. And they're from all the different countries in the Commonwealth. So you'll see the list there. I think I'd like to read some of them. Some of them I hadn't heard of, some of them I have. But that's a great thing. I imagine there'll be some reading groups established around this. Hope so. You know, I'm such an Anglophile. I really should have been born in England. I just love this monarchy stuff. Okay. Next thing I want to talk about was the Jhalak Prize that the shortlist has just been announced. This is a prize for authors of color in England, or I guess I'm not sure if it includes the rest. I get mixed up what England includes, but anyway, you can see the link. But I also wanted to give a great shout out to a new booktuber who loves books prizes, I think, as much as I do. She's a Spanish, I believe Spanish young woman, speaks perfect English and obviously reads perfectly good English. Her booktube channel is Draw Your Book, and I'm giving a link below. And I'm going to leave it up to her. Take a look at hers. She talks about all the books on the Jhalak Shortlist Prize, what she thinks about them, and she's just great. She's able to say in a few words, which I would babble on for minutes and minutes. Okay, so shout out to her, and I think she needs some new subscribers, so go ahead and subscribe, because she's read all the ones that I like to report on International Booker and others like that. Just very good. Now she has a new baby, and the baby kind of comes into it every once in a while. I don't know how she gets so much done with a new baby, but it's very cute. Us of the grandmotherly age melt at that, of course. Okay, let's see. I've told you about the two. Now I'm going to talk about the one that I'm reading today, that I read this week. It's the LA Times Book Prize that will be awarded, I think, this 22nd. I guess it's Friday night, Los Angeles Times, of course. And I am just doing the debut novel section called The Art Subtlebomb. He was, I guess, a well-known editor of the Los Angeles Times for many years. But there are many other categories. I believe they have translated and just plain novels. So take a look. I've given you the link below. You'll notice we click on the link. The first thing it says is get tickets. I thought they were going to be virtual tickets. So many of the book prizes have done that lately, where you can watch the book prize and the book readings and the announcement on Zoom. And I thought that's what it was. I was certainly willing to pay $15. Then I looked closer and saw it's not virtual. It's in the balcony of the large auditorium in Los Angeles, where they're holding it as part of the Los Angeles Book Festival. I won't say, it'd be crass to say it's the bookish version of the Academy Awards. No, that's not a good thing to say. Okay, I'm just going to quickly go through the 5 books on the list and what I thought of them. I'm going to do some comparison. 4 of the 5 were quite short novels. And sometimes I like short novels and sometimes I don't. So I'm going to kind of talk about each and how I think they handle being a short novel. Okay, the first one is called Brood. The brood in it refers to chickens, brood of chickens. And a young woman is the narrator, lives out in the country with her husband, and she actually has 4 chickens. This is a new project that she's doing to keep these chickens alive. And she has a chicken house, and you learn more about how that's looks and tries to get the chickens through the winter when it's freezing out. And you really learned a lot about taking care of chickens. But here's the deal. I I like the story, and there's many comments on Goodreads about the wonderful language she uses when it's spare. The word spare, I think, has been used like for Hemingway, etc. I'm not real crazy about spare writing. I like to read textured, heavy, complex stories that, I don't know, that kind of envelop you more. But I can appreciate that it's quite poetical in the words that were chosen. The other thing I had a little bit of a problem with is the tone of the book. She has that tone where she's always trying to be ironic and satirical and a little bit humorous, especially talking about the chickens. It gets kind of old to me. It's like when you're with somebody who keeps telling jokes, you want to go, enough already. And the other thing, there's a really catastrophic thing that happens midway through the book, and of course that's serious, and it loses that tone for a while, but then it goes right back to that, and just had a little trouble with the tone of the book. I'm going from what I like least to best, so here we go. Okay, the next one, handled the short method beautifully. Assembly. This is a well-known book. It's been on a lot of prizes. Deals with a professional black woman in London who has soared to the top of the banking and money world, checked all the boxes, broke the glass ceiling, got there, and it's her interior feelings about it. And there's just things that I never thought of. She does work with a lot of older white men, and let's see, there's things you would call microaggressions. Of course, they've been trained not to, anyway, discriminate, but little things that are hurtful, like when they have a big meeting around the big table and they take a break for the espresso coffee machine, and none of the men seem to know how to work the machine, how to put the pot in, and they keep looking at her like she needs to make the coffee. The receptionist or whoever's handling it is gone. Little things like that. So she ends up making the coffee. The other thing is that she has a white boyfriend who's high in government of some sort, I'm not sure what, but she goes to his family's, his parents' anniversary party or something out in their big mansion in the country. And she's a little unsure about this, though she has met the parents before. And when she gets there and all the parents' friends are there, I really felt for the fact of being black. People were nice, but she felt, as she said, she felt like the parents thought a black girlfriend was a phase he was going through. And it's real sad. I mean, I really realized a lot of things I hadn't, and she has to make some hard decisions in this book. So it's a lot packed into a short book. Okay, the next one is My Monticello. This was actually, I think, 3 short stories and a novella. The novella's called My Monticello, and quickly it has to do with a young black woman at University of Virginia, or something like that, where they actually, in Charlottesville, where they actually had riots. The white supremacists came in, and it's a long story. It happened several years ago, but everybody remembers it, and the place. And evidently this is in the future when it's become worse for people of color or minorities in that city or maybe in the country, and they have some sort of riot around the university where she actually is a scholar there, and she's visiting her grandmother in her grandmother's house in her neighborhood, and they feel like they're under attack, and they are, and a group of the black people plus a few white people leave. They just leave. They're afraid for their life and their property, and they end up at Monticello, the home of Thomas Jefferson, which is a well-known tourist site. And of course, there's feelings about him I won't go into the fact, well, I will go into the fact that the narrator has realized that she's somehow related to Thomas Jefferson, as many people have found out they are. This is good. The first part was really good, really handled well. She kind of backed herself in the corner because once they all get to Monticello, she's got about 50 pages or so to just talk about what happens there. And she has to bring in some minor characters and minor things, and didn't like it as well, though. I mean, I think I can see why that would be problematic, because that's not the exciting part. Of course, it then does come to a dynamic ending. So this is very interesting. Okay, the next one is the one that's not quite so short, called The Recent East. It's blurry anyway, not just on here. This is one of a new subgenre of literary fiction called transnational fiction, which I've just learned about. And it actually deals with people or refugees who have to go to a new country and their life there and how it affects them. And when you think about it, there are a lot of stories now about that with refugee problems, etc. This one was a little different. It involved a woman through time. Anyway, she lived in East Germany with her parents, older parents, just when the Berlin Wall came down. And no, before the Berlin Wall came down, and they escaped to the West. It was really well done when you see him on the train to the West or going through the border, and they had false papers, and you just hoping the guy wouldn't realize, they were from East Germany. They couldn't be crossing the border, but they made it, and that part was well done. It goes ahead in time to this woman is now living in upper state New York with her family. Her parents have died, but she still, of course, speaks German, and I think kind of considers Germany her home. And she gets word that she, from East German, it's a imaginary town where her parents lived, that she has now owner of the actually big brick nice house, older house that the Nazis took over during the war, and that she can, claim it. Well, she's kind of at loose ends. Her husband's left, so she takes the children and they go to East Germany to live in this house, which looked better on the picture. It's quite rat-ridden, etc. But the main thing is about how the woman, the mother herself, and the teenage boy and girl, their different reactions to living in East Germany, what was East Germany, which is now kind of a derelict town, because I guess a lot of East Germans left when they could, and there were some not communist soldiers stationed there. They all left. They'd been living in the house. They did speak German already, which is a good thing, because otherwise it would be hard to keep the story going. But the boy gets involved with a kind of wild, druggy alcohol group, gets in touch with his homosexuality. The girl isolates and reads a lot, can relate to that part, but she's doesn't do too well either. And even the mother has some problems adjusting to there and is often absent. This was done. This was well done, and I'm looking forward to reading more, though I have read, now I realize, of transnational genre books. Okay, the last one, and in my mind the best. I don't know that I enjoyed it the most, but it certainly made me think the most, and deserves a lot of respect and admiration for all the research the author did. Okay, When We Cease to Understand the World. It won the English Pen Award. I believe it was also on the Goldsmith Prize list, which awards to innovative, different type books. Also, it's really short, but It took a while to read. Okay, just briefly, the story is one I need to read again, and you don't really appreciate till it's all over. But it's broken into 4 or 5 parts, but all have to do with German scientists that during World War II, the first part of the 20th century. And it's well done because the first part is almost completely nonfiction. We learn about the poisons that were developed during World War II. Evidently, almost all the high-up Nazis carried little cyanide capsules that were developed to commit suicide if they got captured. And, it's called blue, it's a word I know well, Prussian blue. That was the name of the chemical they developed, and that's a color too. Anyway, but that was the name of the first. Okay, it goes on to the development of quantum mechanics and all the scientists involved. Einstein came a little earlier, and there were people who came in and redid his theory of relativity. You don't really have to understand a lot of science to get that part. And it got closer and closer to the scientists and their life and how they got to their theories, and it could be a commentary on mental illness in sciences. I mean, strange. And you're just in a swirl of scientific singularity and quantum mechanics, etc., mathematics. Even if you don't understand it, you realize they're in a swirl, and it comes to this dynamic meeting, which I'm sure is fiction, where all the main scientists met at this meeting, all having different theories. So well done. I like this. Okay, I got to go check out these new book prizes now. Oh, I almost forgot to tell you. Oh, no, I told you. I told you about the person I shouted out. Okay, see you later. Bye.